Beneath the still waters of the lake, something stirs a presence long forgotten, waiting for the night. They call it the Lake Phantom, but no one who's seen it has ever come back to tell the tale. Tonight, the waters aren't as calm as they seem. Subscribe and like and share. Now let's start today's story.
On a tranquil evening, with the summer heat finally giving way to a refreshing coolness, I decided to take my car out for a night drive. The breeze was gentle, carrying the earthy scent of damp soil, and I was eager to feel the night air against my skin. I needed to escape the confines of my apartment, to let the darkness envelop me and bring a sense of calm. As I drove further from the city, the streets became increasingly empty. The streetlights, once bright and frequent, dwindled into distant, faint orange dots in my rearview mirror. I found myself on a long, winding road that seemed to stretch endlessly, the asphalt ribboning through a landscape of trees and fields. It was the perfect retreat, a place where I could be alone with my thoughts, where the world and its worries seemed to drift away with the night. After what felt like hours, the road opened up to a vast, shimmering lake. The moonlight reflected off the water's surface, creating a silvery mirror that seemed to stretch into the void. The sight was mesmerizing, and I found myself pulling over, unable to resist the tranquil beauty before me. I parked my car on the gravel shoulder and stepped out, taking in the crisp night air. The only sounds were the gentle lapping of the water against the shore and the distant chirping of crickets. I wandered closer to the water's edge, feeling a strange sense of calm wash over me. But as I sat there, something caught my eye: movement in the trees across the lake. At first I thought it was just the wind rustling the leaves, but then I saw it again. A shadowy figure, barely discernible against the darkness, flitted between the trees. My heart began to race, and a chill ran down my spine. I strained my eyes, trying to make out what it was, but the figure was elusive, always just out of sight. Fear started to grip me, turning the once serene night into something far more sinister. The darkness around me felt oppressive, as if the night itself was closing in. My instincts screamed at me to leave, but I was rooted to the spot, unable to tear my eyes away from the shifting shadows. I told myself it was nothing, a trick of the light, a product of my imagination, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Then, without warning, the figure emerged from the trees. It was tall and impossibly thin, its body draped in tattered, dark robes that seemed to ripple in the non-existent breeze. Panic surged through me. I scrambled to my feet and bolted for my car, my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't dare look back as I fumbled with the keys, my hands trembling. The engine roared to life, and I tore out of there, gravel spraying beneath the tires. I drove as fast as I could, the road blurring before me. The image of that phantom figure haunted my mind, its glowing eyes seared into my memory. I told myself to keep going, to not stop until I was back in the safety of the city, but as I rounded a bend in the road, my heart dropped. There it was, standing in the middle of the road, a dark silhouette against the asphalt, its eyes burning into mine. The phantom had somehow appeared ahead of me, blocking my path. I slammed on the brakes, the car screeching to a halt mere feet from the figure. For a moment, I just sat there, frozen in place, staring at the phantom through the windshield. It didn't move, didn't blink, just stood there, staring back at me with those unnerving eyes. My mind raced with fear and disbelief. I yelled at it to move, to get out of my way, but it was like shouting at a wall. My anger and fear mingled into a desperate frenzy. In a blind panic, I slammed my foot on the gas, determined to drive through it. But as the car lurched forward, the phantom vanished into thin air, dissolving like smoke in the wind. My heart nearly stopped, and I jerked the wheel, swerving to avoid where it had just been standing. The car fishtailed, but I managed to regain control, my hands white-knuckling the steering wheel. I didn't stop driving until I was back in the city, where the streetlights provided a comforting, reassuring glow. Even then, a lingering unease clung to me, as if something was still watching from just beyond the edge of the light. The phantom's face haunted me for days afterward, its burning eyes etched into my memory. I never returned to that lake, and I avoided night drives for a long time. But even now, I can't shake the feeling that the phantom is still out there, lurking in the darkness. Sometimes, when I'm alone at night, I catch glimpses of those glowing eyes in the shadows, watching me, just as they did that night.